The Change Officer Podcast's Future of Financial Services series is brought to you by Holy Wallet, the world's first wallet-as-a-service platform. Stay tuned to find out how Holy Wallet can help you build your mobile wallet to increase revenue and reduce time to market.
If you don't have a bank account, you are now cut off from so many of those financial services that are really critical to establishing wealth, building wealth, raising your station in life. So if you are using, your social app of choice and you experience a bug, it's annoying, right? But if you are using your fintech product of choice and you experience a bug, it's scary. And so for us, we have an extremely high bar for quality, for making sure that we are a platform that our customers can trust. And these are the kinds of things that I think help make fintech more palatable to customers, right? Knowing that there is a safety net there to protect them, and also to regulators to see that companies like us are not just doing, what historical financial institutions have done to catch these problems, but are actually innovating and pushing that forward and being more sophisticated, I think is something that's going to really help move the space forward.
Welcome to the Change Officer Podcast's Future of Financial Services series. In this series, we are deep diving into some of the hottest and most pivotal topics in the financial services industry right now, including personalization in financial services, embedded finance, and the mobile payment revolution. Join us as we seek the answers to critical questions such as what does the future hold for the financial services sector, and where should we look for the next big disruptive idea. One of the financial services spaces that fintechs are most effectively disrupting is definitely payments. Innovation that is taking place here is making it easier than ever to make payments and get paid, eliminating the need for the clumsy and outdated systems involving IBANs and SWIFT codes that have dominated these processes for far too long. Today we are unpacking the need for this revolution with Andrew Gold. Andrew previously worked for big names like Apple and Coinbase and is now the co-founder and head of engineering at Ziina, the UAE's first peer-to-peer payment app. Andrew spoke about the need for fintech innovation, particularly in regions with a large unbanked population, why and how fintechs should partner with traditional financial institutions in this journey, and shared his three key learnings about what customers need to confidently adopt fintech products. I truly hope this is going to be a valuable episode for you and that you're going to find Andrew's wisdom nuggets insightful. Enjoy. Welcome to the show, Andrew.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you for taking time, man. I know it's busy. Building a unicorn takes a lot of time.
It really does. They didn't tell me how much work it would be when we got this started.
Did you tell them I didn't sign up for these guys?
I mean, I tried, but here we are 2 years later. So.
You spent some time with Apple and then spent some time with the company that got acquired by Coinbase. So you worked with all these hot shots that are all over the news these days, which is not as interesting as the experience gained in some technologies that are becoming more relevant today. Mm-hmm. Today, since 2 years ago, right, co-founder and head of engineering for Ziina.
That's right.
How is that feeling?
It's good. I always looked at my management chain in the past and thought I can do that better. So I've really put my money where my mouth is here. Yeah. And so far it's going well. We've got a really strong team that I'm super proud of. They make me look really good, which I appreciate, and a really exciting opportunity ahead.
No, I think the whole space is really exciting, especially in this region. I think fintech and in general financial services has been on a rapid growth over the previous couple of years. So, let's start off with that. Like, what do you think about the current state, and what are still the biggest problems that are yet to be solved?
Sure. Great question. So definitely fintech has been on a really meteoric rise over the last 10 years globally, but the MENA region has been a little bit behind on the fintech trend. Fortunately, that's changing. I think in the last few years, while the fintech scene here in MENA is a bit nascent, it's growing. It's really starting to emerge, through a confluence of factors. I think the most critical being the availability of regulation for businesses like ours, fintech startups to operate, to create these kinds of products and really bring them to market. So that's very exciting. So, what we're doing, our focus is mainly around peer-to-peer payments. This is a pain point that has been solved in a lot of places in the world, but in this part of the world, it has not yet been solved. And so that's sort of our base case, is making those really easy. We kind of got to this through just talking to customers in the region. We had ideas around all sorts of products, but when we talked to customers, what they wanted was to be able to pay their friend back really easily and not have to go to the ATM or not have to collect an IBAN and log into a banking portal. So that's sort of where we started. I think we're seeing a proliferation of a lot of different products and services in the fintech space globally and in MENA. I think these trends are setting in. Things like easy stock investing, making those sorts of equity gains available to the masses, right? Making it something that isn't as complicated as it used to be, which is great. I think we're seeing an emergence of a lot of interesting products in the lending space. Buy now, pay later is a space that's obviously, of course, really hot. And I think we'll see more emerge around micro lending, that kind of stuff. I think we'll see that start to really take off. But here in MENA, it's a bit nascent, which I think makes it really exciting for us, is that there's just so much opportunity ahead to build out so many different great products and experiences.
Very few people around the world, or a majority, still don't have access to banking, right? What are the numbers saying globally?
UAE does a pretty good job as far as having a banked population. I think about 80% of folks here have bank accounts, but more broadly throughout the region, that number declines. And of course, if you don't have a bank account, you are now cut off from so many of those financial services that are really critical to establishing wealth, building wealth, raising your station in life, doing those things that you want to do. So I think being able to bring those sorts of financial services that the developed world and that, folks with privilege enjoy to everybody, is available now, right? Because so often now you can bring those financial services to anyone with a smartphone, which pretty much everybody has. I mean, the mobile penetration rates in MENA are in some geographies above 100%, right? So people have two phones, and yet there's no reason why every one of those people couldn't have a bank account.
No, absolutely. So, but they don't.
Right.
But they don't, right?
Yeah.
So what's in the way?
Yeah, there are a few barriers of entry. I think one is just trust, right? So in a lot of places in the world, people distrust traditional financial services, and so that's a big part of it, right? There is kind of, I think, an education gap there, and I think there is also a rightful mistrust that needs to be corrected. There's also just issues of accessibility, right? So perhaps you need certain forms of documentation that are not easy for you to get access to, or you need a identification card, or you need a minimum balance, right? So unless you have a certain amount of money, the bank will not let you, save the money that you do have and grow the money that you do have. So I think it's a confluence of factors, but certainly just pure access, right? And of course, there is that trust of financial institutions that in some places needs to change.
What are some of the trending technologies, new technologies that are appearing and growing, that are going to increase or help accelerate the process of solving these problems? And how would that happen? That's what I'm curious to sort of understand.
Yeah, I think one of the obvious ones is, of course, crypto is what a lot of folks are talking about. And I think in a lot of ways, crypto can address some of these gaps that we're seeing, right? So crypto is truly permissionless, right? So if I just have a smartphone, I have access to store and to trade and to utilize different cryptocurrencies without any sort of intermediary there. But I think really the things that are going to have the biggest impact on providing access are some of the less sexy technologies, right? So I think, of course, just mobile apps, right? So being able to build an experience that you can ship to somebody's phone wherever they are in the world is a core component, right? Cloud services, being able to to deploy an application without having to run the physical infrastructure and be able to deliver your application seamlessly, quickly, easily, scalably to millions of customers is critical for this kind of stuff. Of course, I think there's a role that machine learning and artificial intelligence also will really play in the proliferation of fintech, because a major challenge is, of course, some of the scarier parts of financial services, which is money laundering, fraud, these sorts of things. And so I'm really encouraged by seeing a lot of startups emerging at the moment that are using data and artificial intelligence to help startups like ourselves identify bad actors before they're able to onboard onto the platform or catch them if they have slipped through. And these are the kinds of things that I think help make fintech more palatable to customers, right? Knowing that there is a safety net there to protect them, and also to regulators to see that companies like us are not just doing, what historical financial institutions have done to catch these problems, but are actually innovating and pushing that forward and being more sophisticated. I think is something that's going to really help move the space forward.
Are you in the race to capture the market, etc.? Is partnering something that you think is a good idea and you're sort of supportive of, or trying, like, going on your own and building your own stuff in your stack is something that you would rather go for?
It really depends on what the partnership is. So for us, when it comes to the technology that we're building, if we can build it in-house, we're going to, right? Because I'll toot our horn a little bit. We've assembled a great team of engineers, and we've been burned before partnering with other companies, relying on other companies to manage parts of our technology, and almost every time we've been disappointed. So if we can build something in-house, we're going to do it. Outside of the technology, we have no choice but to partner. It's essential. We absolutely could not do everything ourselves. We are not a bank, right? So partnering with banks and other financial institutions, payment gateways, these sorts of entities is absolutely essential. And then, of course, we really want to focus on what is our core experience, what is the core value that we're bringing to customers. And if somebody else has a core value that they bring that we may depend on, we would be open to integrating. We like to integrate with vendors that are best in class on things like KYC, AML, like I mentioned, fraud, those sorts of things, so that we can focus on the core parts of our product that are really delivering the value to customers.
No, yeah, absolutely. And there is always a popular topic of banks and fintechs. How do you see the relationship of banks and fintechs evolving over the next years?
I think it can be a really synergistic relationship, because what we do is we provide this gorgeous user-friendly interface on top of the traditional services that banks provide. So when we partner with a bank, we're really extending their reach, where they are now able to reach and serve many, many more customers without really having to do much at all. Definitely, it can be really synergistic. I think this is something new for a lot of the banks in the region, and they are starting to get behind this, which I think is really wise. Is them doing what they do best in the financial space, and letting startups and fintechs do what they do best in the technology space to deliver that value.
Hey everyone, sorry for jumping in. We'll be back with the rest of the conversation shortly, but I wanted to take a moment to thank the sponsor of our show, Holly Wally. Within the next 2 years, 4 billion people will be using digital wallets, and the global mobile payments market size is expected to hit US $5.5 billion by 2024. It's more important than ever for financial service providers to offer a digital wallet service to their customers. Enter Holly Wally, the world's first wallet-as-a-service platform that allows any financial service provider to build their own digital wallet as efficiently and cost-effectively as possible. Whether you're a fintech, retailer, banking institution, or insurance carrier, Holly Wally has all the elements you need to build your own company's ideal digital wallet in a matter of minutes and manage it on an ongoing basis. To find out how Holly Wally can increase your customer engagement and revenue, or to register for a demo, visit hollywally.com. The link can be found in the show notes of this episode, and now enjoy the rest of this conversation. at the end of the day, it's the race to customers, right? And what have you learned so far? What do customers expect?
Yeah, great question. So there's a few things that we're keeping in mind as we build the product, particularly for customers in this region. So one is, I think that the quality of the product must be very high when you're building fintech. So if you are using, your social app of choice and you experience a bug, it's annoying, right? But if you are using your fintech product of choice and you experience a bug, it's scary. And so for us, we have an extremely high bar for quality, for making sure that we are a platform that our customers can trust. Another aspect we're taking on is the social element, right, of payments. Like ultimately, money is not something you use in a vacuum, right? You don't use it by yourself. And so part of the way that we want to differentiate ourselves in the space is really embrace that social element of, friends going out to dinner, splitting the bill, you paying your children's tutor, or you running a small business and being able to really easily collect payments from your customers. And on that topic, small businesses that did not previously have a good way to collect payments digitally, particularly payments on the internet, and we were able to provide that channel for them. And we believe, if you give somebody the tools that they can use to grow their business, they're going to be a customer for life, right? I think there's hardly a better business out there than helping somebody else build their business.
No, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. All right. So talking about Ziina a bit more now and unpacking the story. What's the current state of Ziina? What's sort of your 0 to 1?
Yep.
And what is your 0 to 100 game play?
Great question. So we started as lean and as scrappy as we could, right?
Which is the way to start.
You got to, right? We had no choice, right? We could not hire a bunch of people. We could not afford to wait a long time for a license, etc. So we had to get scrappy. So we figured out a way to basically build an app that would do peer-to-peer payments where we didn't need a license because we didn't hold the money, right? And so we were able to get that to market in just a few months after forming the company. And you know what? It didn't work very well. It was not a great product. It was not a product that we could really be proud of. But if we had waited to build a product we were proud of, it would have been too late. So we got something out the door. We got some customers on board. We understood what was working and what was not working.
What would be like 1, 2, and 3 key learnings about customers that you learned so far?
One is sort of setting a really high bar for customer support and customer experience, I think, is really important with payments. We, especially being a startup, right? So we're not, necessarily a known entity. We don't have a brand reputation to rely on. So for customers to trust us, to use our product, I think we have to be really strong in making sure that they know that, look, there's people on the other side of this product that are in your corner, right? And that, if something, it goes wrong, which we hope doesn't happen, we're here for you. Or if something's confusing, or whatever that may be, I think that's really important. I think something else that comes to mind is I think that a lot of startups overestimate how much attention and how much care customers are going to put into their product. So I think it's really important that startups recognize that, look, like, you're going to have to do a lot of legwork getting people to understand the product, to use it, to adopt it. I think we all, like, you open an app and it takes 10 seconds to load, and you've closed it by the time the content is there. So I think making sure you keep that user experience really top of mind, recognize that your user doesn't have the same perspective that you do, right? They don't know your product. They don't know how it works. They don't know what it is that you're trying to do, and continuing to, I think, iterate on it to make sure that understanding is clear, is essential. And I think beyond that, it's important to, I guess it's in the same vein, but really speak your customer's language. So I think that you see a lot of fintech products out there, or a lot of tech products out there in the region generally, that you look at them and you would never know that this is a product that is for or from the Middle East, right? I think there's a general trend in tech to conform, right? We all sort of want to look, have that kind of slick look. And I think for us, it's really important to be a local product. We feel that our customers want a local product, right? They want to use something that they understand is really targeted for them. And so we try to embrace that every step of the way when we design and build our product. It really embrace its local roots.
I think that's spot on. Last question is, looking in the next 5 years, globally.
Okay.
We're not talking locally, globally, in financial services. What do you think is that problem that financial services are facing, or that is yet going to appear, that should be worth solving, that would result then in a great company?
I think it is digital identity. And I think that this is something that is going to be important in payments and in fintech and across actually the internet more broadly. Digital identity is something that people, companies, organizations have been working to solve since the dawn of the internet, right? How do I, as an application, as Ziina, as a website, know who the person is that's using it, right? And so I think we have seen a lot of interesting attempts at this. There's a lot of, in our product and many other products, we use technology to scan your ID and utilize that. But ultimately, a lot of these solutions, have a high degree of friction. They have some degree of inaccuracy, right? And I think that it's just that somebody needs to come along and solve this problem. How can I, as a company, know with certainty who is on the other end of it, and ideally in a privacy-preserving way, right? Because
without having to go through the whole process of two-factor authentication, SMSs, and all that stuff, right?
I think there's that. The what's known as the KYC, know your customer process, that a lot of financial apps put you through, right? Multiple documents, all this kind of stuff. Somebody needs to figure out an easy way for whoever I am to verify to a website that identity, and ideally in a privacy-preserving way, right? Because most websites, they don't care what your birthday is. They want to know that you're old enough, right? And so I think we're seeing an emergence of some technologies that can address this problem, but we're yet to see a cohesive end-to-end solution. And I guess it's a prediction, or it's more of a hope that somebody will address this problem. There's the tremendous fraud loss that companies incur due to mistaken identity, right? I think I don't want to quote any specific numbers, but these big exchanges are losing millions of dollars a month to this sort of fraud. Yeah, and I think that it's going to be key for the crypto world that is sort of operating in a vacuum to interface with the traditional financial system that, of course, has been around for eternity, right? And I think for those two systems to really merge seamlessly, we're going to have an easy way to safely identify people on the internet.
100%. Andrew, thanks a lot for taking the time.
Thanks so much for having me. It was
sharing
fun.
Your insights and energy with our audience, and good luck with Ziina.
Anytime. Thank you. Thanks so much.
Guys, thanks for staying until the end and tuning into another episode. Stay tuned. There is another one coming out really shortly with another amazing change maker. Take care, everyone.